Welcome to the Bridal Journey podcast. Today, we're thrilled to have an inspiring guest, Sarah Davoli. Sarah has spent over 8 years in the industry with 4 years as a celebrated marriage celebrant, capturing the essence of each couple's unique story and creating memorable ceremonies filled with laughter, warmth, and emotion. Known for her inclusive approach, Sarah celebrates love in all its forms and crafts ceremonies that honor each couple's journey, no matter their background or beliefs. We're so excited to dive into her experiences as a celebrant and hear about how she brings each couple's vision to life. Welcome, Sarah.
Thank you. So happy to be here.
So we've covered all manner of topics already. What have we gone through? Venues,
vendors,
breast augmentation, sorry. What else?
body
Our
issues,
weddings.
yeah, hair. We've spoken about hair, yeah, but weddings are the main one.
So we'll touch base back with that. Yeah. Let's start again. So I'm going to ask you my first question.
Yep.
So what originally inspired you to become a celebrant? We know that you used to work at Cotton On, same as me. So how did you get, into being a celebrant?
So I've had an interesting journey. I'll try not to yap too much, but I wanted to be an actor actually. So this is where all failed actors go to survive. I'm just kidding. I absolutely love my job, but I feel like it was a natural progression. So I had an opportunity to be an MC for a really close friend of mine. She was doing a massive event. She knew I was into acting, comfortable public speaking. So she was like, Sarah, do it. And I was in my yes man era. So I was like, okay, we're doing it. Terrified. But the moment I was on stage and everyone obviously clapping and validating me, I was like, this feels good. But I'm also a Taurus, which means that I need structure and stability. And I feel like it was a natural journey to get to being a celebrant, and it feels so right. And I'm such an advocate. And I feel like I want to promote it so much because I think it's important for other people as well.
So you nailed that first MC role and everyone came up to you saying you need to do this as a professional job.
Pretty much, yeah.
So you've gone into the wedding industry. Describe kind of what couples usually tend to hire you, gravitate towards you, and what's your style?
Yeah, that's a good question because I feel like even when I started the course, one of the questions was, who will be your target audience, right? And I feel like I, again, am so inclusive, but I tend to attract similar and like-minded people. I feel like that's just been the way it's been. Like I'm from an Italian Catholic background. So for me, coming from religious background, there's so many of us out there and we really want a personalized secular ceremony. And not to devalue, I have a lot of respect for the church, but like I personally know that being able to add the things and have the music that you want and being able to tell your story in that way, they're the type of couples that I've really attracted. But open to everything and anything, of course.
And how have you seen, like as a marriage celebrant, weddings kind of evolve over the last few years, especially post-COVID?
Gosh, huge. I don't think it's remiss to say that people used to have an image of celebrants. I feel like even when I did my course, there were a lot of people who were kind of in the retired age. It was a beautiful community and so loving and so helpful. But I just thought I really would love to do this earlier in life and be able to carry it through. And how great to be able to have a family and have the work-life balance. So I think the change is that we're sort of promoting this new, I guess, journey and age of celebrants and going into this complete other world where we're young and we can do it early and it's not a side job. It can be a full-time job and we're being seen now. We used to get left out, but we're being seen. We're being seen now, and I think that's a testament to the people who advocate for it, and I love it. It's a great industry.
And speaking of like change, what are you noticing? Are things changing for what couples want? Because I don't know if I did an article on this recently on the Bridal Journey blog, and it was about what traditions people are ditching. And a lot of people are saying, your celebrant doesn't actually have to do really anything official, but you might be able to run this through me because I could be getting this wrong.
Yeah.
Apart from reading some sort of official legal things.
Yeah.
But are people tending to like change up what celebrants are doing now?
Yeah. So That's a good question because I should really preface that the legal stuff cannot be changed and any celebrant that's taking it out is not doing it right. That you're not really married. So legally, like we're governed by law, so we have to say legal things in order for you to be legally married if we were to be audited.
So you actually have to vocalize certain things.
Oh, absolutely. Like the monotem. Like you need to literally say like
I declare you now,
basically.
husband and wife. And do you have to say, does anyone have anything to say? You don't have to.
No. So that's
don't
such a
even say
movie. That's a little movie moment. Like,
Okay.
does anyone object?
Do you say that?
No.
Oh,
no.
okay.
Absolutely
So that's not even a thing.
No.
Right.
That's a myth. We can put that to bed. No, a total myth.
People are really mixing up, and I think this will be a huge thing for 2025
Yep.
is they're realizing that they don't actually need to do certain things.
Yes.
You walk into it, you don't know, you've never been married before,
Yep.
you're just being guided by experts. Aside from those legal things, are people really switching things up with how they work with the celebrant,
Yep.
doing, vows and all that kind of
For
thing?
sure. 100% the biggest thing that I'm always asked is, please don't make it go for an hour, please. Like everybody wants short and sweet because if you actually think of the process itself and you would know when you're about to go into the ceremony, you're entering as a bride. So you've got all this time in an air-conditioned room waiting to go out, but everyone is either drinking beforehand. You've got half an hour of waiting time and then you're going to go through an hour ceremony. You lose the engagement. And I know people who have grown up in environments where they've gone to religious ceremonies where maybe they don't know what's going on, it's gone for a long time and they're not engaged anymore. So I think the short and sweet element, and I don't mean 15 minutes, I mean like 25 to 30 minutes is a beautiful, beautiful spot. And I think that is always my most asked for sure. But vows are huge and I take such pride in the way that I help my clients because my approach is never to force them. I feel like it's such a unique, personal, very private journey. I guide them, but I'm also very, say for example, I'm like, record yourself just saying, like just babbling, and I will be happy to put your stream of consciousness onto paper. So I think people put so much pressure on themselves, and I think that you don't need to. It's you. I know it feels like a Broadway musical and everyone has to be in their places and everyone stops, but it's not. It's your day. Like, be you. I think that's a huge part of it.
I think that's some good advice, Sarah. And that's what I remembered. I was really most nervous thinking about reading my vows. Like public speaking doesn't come naturally to me. And I was extremely nervous. And I just remember everyone sitting in the audience knows me. Like they've seen me in really bad situations here. Like what have I actually got to lose, Or, they know who I am.
Yeah.
That's good advice to just say be you. Is there anything in terms of like vows that you recommend? Like what makes good vows? What makes bad vows? Just dish out all the kind of stories.
I could tell you some stories, but I won't in case they watch this. But I feel like the easiest way for anyone who's struggling, for me, I am a very structured person and although, I seem a little bit loco, I definitely love the way that things are structured. So I think if you are that person and you can't just write willy-nilly, I think if you go past, present, future. So I say this to all my clients because it's less pressure because it's not like I'm literally telling you what to say, but past in the way that like, this is how I felt the day I met you.
Mm-hmm.
Present, this is how I feel standing before you. And future, this is what I promise for the rest of our lives. So it can be as short, like it can be as small. It doesn't have to be long. I just don't think you need to be boxed in, but that's a way to kind of inspire your creativity and speak truthfully. Yeah, and be authentic.
And with the vows, are people writing? I just need to know any particular details. Audience loves little details that they can take home. Paper, phone. What are people doing? What works really well? What are you seeing?
As in writing them?
Yeah,
or
like I've got my
reading them
vows.
out?
Am I putting them on my phone? Is that like unprofessional in a wedding? Or am I writing them down on a little like beautiful piece of paper?
No.
What do people do? Am I memorizing them? What are people doing?
Oh, memorizing them. Absolutely not.
No.
Okay. Number one, aesthetic. Okay. So the way that your vows look and the photos that are being taken, if you've got your phone in your
I'm pretty
hand.
sure I might have read mine off my phone.
All right. Throw your phone in the ocean because absolutely not.
Okay.
Absolutely not. Look, I shouldn't say that. Do what you want. We're inclusive here. But I actually do have vow booklets that I designed and I print the vows for the couple. Yes.
Great.
And I have them all aesthetic. It has beautiful silk ribbon and it's stunning and beautiful. And they don't even have to worry about it until they get there. They can read it when they get there if they want to have a little look. But yeah, no, I provide the booklets for them. And I think only my entire career has one couple use their own booklets because they had pre-purchased some. But otherwise, every single client is obsessed. And I offer a varied color scheme of ribbons and things like that, so make it unique to you. But yeah,
That's
no
good to know.
phones, no just random paper, definitely on expensive card that is printed and put into these beautiful booklets.
So you're really
Yes.
kind of holding their hand through the whole process, which is good to know. 'Cause
yeah.
I think this really terrifies a lot of people. They
Yeah.
go into their wedding and they're quite nervous about this. This
Of
is the
course.
biggest thing of the day. I think as soon as that all gets done, people can sigh
They
a
do.
bit of a bit of relief that the ceremony's done. I don't know
Yep.
why do we do it when
It's
we're
public
so
speaking.
nervous?
That's what it is.
Yeah.
And if you actually think about a ceremony as it is unnatural, okay, in the way that it's formal. How many times in your life do you stand in front of people where you feel like you're being judged, even though you're not? It's your beautiful family and friends, but you feel exposed.
Those traditions and that formality of it
It's
all.
even thinking about doing a
It's like
first
doing a
dance.
job interview in front
Yes.
of all your family and friends.
Exactly. And I have bombed some job interviews because it is really stress. It's high pressure. I do get that. But I always say, especially if there's a certain one of the parties of the marriage that walks down the aisle, I always say, whether it's a groom or a bride standing up there, I literally say, the moment that they walk down the aisle, they forget about you. So don't worry. Everyone wants to see the outfit and the dress. So if you are a bride, I'm so sorry. But yeah, everyone is looking at you 100%.
That's good to know. Or you could do what I did, and I had a baby before the wedding.
Yeah.
And so she was kind of running around and people just watching her laughing. So it took the pressure off things, I guess.
So we're advocating for kids at weddings.
No, we're not.
No, we're not.
No,
Not
we don't.
reception, but ceremony.
Yes. And they need to go home.
Yeah.
I really want to hone into reading your vows as well. Because this is very, as we said, high pressure. People want to know about this. What makes a good, in terms of body language and how you're projecting your voice, what do you see when you're that couple, their vows were amazing? Are there any other little tidbits you can give the audience on?
Yeah, that's a really good question. And I'm by no means a body language expert. However, I feel like when you're in that moment and reading your vows, it feels very natural to be polite, to kind of either look at me. Sometimes they look at me. I'm like, you're not marrying me. But look at each other. Think of your safe space, right? You're together. The moment that you reach each other, if you opt for a processional, the moment you see each other for that first time, that's your safe space. That's the person that you know. That's the person you feel comfortable with. Just lock in. Be in your bubble. That's why I get them to hold hands sometimes. I always give them the option, and I know aesthetically it can look really beautiful when they're open, but nobody wants to look at the crowd. Everyone's I think if you focus on the person that you feel safest with, it's easier. Because you zone out. It's almost like being in a stage show, and it's easier to perform when there's lights in your face because you can't see anybody, right? So if you're locked in on your partner, I feel like that's a huge...
You just pretend they're the only ones that are there, aside from the celebrant and the whole entire crowd.
Or I'll
You're
build
right,
a
of
partition.
200 people. And so when a couple comes to you, would you give a suggested timeline and how would your ideal ceremony look,
time-wise?
Yeah, you said 15 and 25 minutes. And it's funny because we did interview poll our audience on Instagram about what they really hated at weddings, and so many people said vows.
No way.
Yeah, a lot.
Oh my gosh. Okay, well, we need to say that they're necessary.
But then other people were kind of rebutting that and being like, vows are the best bit about a wedding.
Yeah.
You can't throw out all traditions, blah, blah, blah. So it was an even split, but a lot of people did say, I guess people just want to get drunk and have
100%. They want to have
some
a
food
party.
and a dance. But run us through your ideal kind of timeline about how the whole entire process works for those that don't know.
Yeah. Well, my process, I mean, if we go back to the very start of my process, I the moment that a couple inquires with me, we have a consultation. So that's first. And then we kind of go into, I also should say that with that consultation, and this is not like many vendors, but I give them 2 weeks to make a decision where I save their date. because I feel like my biggest thing as a vendor is to ease the burden for the couple. Imagine me saying you've got 24 hours to make a decision. I just feel like that would be painful. So I always give them that time that they're really sure. But by the time that we actually have our first meeting, even though we're communicating from the moment that they inquire, once they book in with me, it's 3 months out from your wedding date. So our first big meeting is 3 months. And then and that's huge. That meeting is when they're like, oh my gosh, it's real. And we're signing legal papers. Like it's very serious, but also very fun. And then on the wedding day itself, it's in terms of a timeline, I feel like there is a structure, which is again why I love this job, in terms of like having the processional, you're having guests seated. There's a certain formality to it, but it's the tone that we set that makes it personalized, if that makes sense. So our little rituals, our little things that we do that make it unique. But it does follow, because we're, again, governed by law, right? So there's things that we have to say. There's even legal vows, like, the lawful wedded wife, which you don't have to say lawful, because a lot of people say awful. I take you to be my awful wedded wife. But the day itself, I feel like, follows a structure. So you obviously have whoever's walking down the aisle escorted. That's a tradition, which you don't have to do, but all of my couples have. And then
I think a lot of people too are mixing that up a little bit.
Yeah. Oh,
I
big
had
time.
my mum and I carried my daughter down the aisle.
I love that.
But I think that's what people are kind of, I don't think they want to be seen as their dad giving them away anymore.
No.
Although that can be a tradition in itself, and you
Yeah.
can obviously not read into it too much.
Yeah.
Do that if that's what you want to do. But I think a lot of people I want my mum and my
Yeah.
dad to walk me down the aisle, or I just want to walk by myself, or
Yeah.
I want to walk with my kids. I think people are just kind of,
Absolutely.
have you
breaking
seen that?
Tradition. Yes,
Yeah.
100%. And I also don't even use the language of giving away, because I feel like that's kind of making it seem like it's sort of ownership, right? So I actually don't love that. But so I feel like being walked down, you're escorted by the people that are most important to you, and whoever those people are. Doesn't have to be
Well, I
your
think
dad.
that's where it came from, because it's like you would give back in the day your daughter away for
Yeah.
a dowry or whatever, whatever it was.
7 cows or
Yes,
something.
like we've kind of bit past that. We've got AI now. So, I think that's just where that tradition kind of came from. But yeah, it's something that you don't have.
No.
I think people do think, as I said before, that they must have their dad walk them down the aisle, because that's just what they see. That's what happens. But yeah, it's not necessarily.
No.
Yeah.
And everyone has such unique situations. Like, how can you expect everyone to be exactly the same and have the same relationships? And what does it mean for people that have had their father pass away? I've had that so many times, and they're beautifully escorted down by brother, mum, sister. I love it. It's whatever you want.
So we'll go back to that.
Yes.
So they walk down the aisle then.
Yes. Then we go, so they meet each other for the first time, everyone's seated, and then we start the ceremony. So I introduce myself. So I legally have to say my name. I legally have to say their name, or they can legally say their own names. It depends. It depends how difficult their name is. And then we go straight into the love story. So love story is the biggest part of any ceremony, and it's how you should choose your celebrant. Not that you are going to necessarily know what they're going to say on the day, but voice, tone, the way that they write, even on social media, everything matters, because that's how you'll be represented. And it's so important that the person that speaks for you, about you, should know you, right? And as a celebrant, it's such an incredibly unique service, because you're telling a stranger your deepest feelings and things that you wouldn't necessarily tell people. And I love that. So we go in the love story, and then we have legal components of a ceremony, legal vows. And then we do, the kiss, which again is a tradition. It's not a legal component. And then we do signing either during, between, or we can do it after if you want it to be more private. Depends. I always say if you want people to watch, then have the signing during. It is a quicker process, or we do it after. It's a little bit more chilled, relaxed. People can pop in, take photos, but it really is more private. And then they walk down the aisle, and they love that. Might do a little kiss, might bit of petal throwing or whatever it may be. But that whole process, it sounds succinct, but yeah, it does. It can be about 30 minutes. That's the sweet spot, I think, 25 to 30 minutes.
I like how you said before that you have to, as a celebrant, get to know the couple.
Yeah.
Because you do talk a lot about how they like, do you do that whole spiel about Sophie and Brett met, blah, blah, blah.
Yes.
You know, you kind
It
of
was
tell
a
their
summer
story a
day
little
in
bit. Yes,
2013.
yes. You kind of like do you like introduce a bit of humor to that?
Oh,
or
absolutely. I mean,
so,
you know me now.
yeah,
Right?
yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's, yeah, because
Yeah.
that's exactly what ours did as well.
Yeah.
He kind of said a couple of, like, he got us to fill out like a little survey about
Yes.
each other, and
Yep.
then he cracked a couple of jokes. And I think people sometimes may or may not think a Celebrant's, you know, one of the important or less important vendors, but they do really set the tone for the wedding. And
100%.
when you have a bad one, you have a bad one.
And you know
So
that.
I think it is really important, as you said, that they really need to know the couple and
Absolutely.
be confident about what they're speaking about and know them really well, because it does set that tone for that whole ceremony
It
and
can make or break.
the night.
It does. I want to set you up for your party. I want you to enjoy it. And I feel like I should say that I'm malleable to the couple in the way that whatever you need, I will do. So if you're a couple that is a little bit more serious, like how awkward is it going to be if I get up there and start, you know, and when I say cracking jokes, it's observational, sarcastic humor, and it's a slight little tidbit, but it's never stand-up comedy. It's not this ceremony isn't for me; it's for them, you know. So I make sure that it's what they want, and that's really important as a celebrant. And if anyone is thinking about being one, don't be locked in one way. You know, it's important that you change for them. I truly believe that. Like, it's important that they get what they want, and also read the room. Reading the room is so huge because you know them, but you don't know their family and friends. And if something's going to feel a little bit awkward, or maybe you have an icebreaker tactic or something, and it doesn't feel like it would be right, don't do it. You don't like, if that makes sense. Yeah, I just feel like read the room is huge.
Have you got any advice? I know this podcast can be directed to celebrants who want to be a celebrant or in that field, but also brides who are planning their wedding ceremony. But have you got some advice for celebrants that, or perhaps people that are looking to get into the industry?
I mean, I could say a million things, but I feel like for me, the way that I approach anything is always with a slow burn, and that's not everyone's way. I've never really had a hustler mentality. Everything that I've always done has been so that I can feel good about something. So it's like I will, and that passion shows, and your brand voice shows, and the way that you inject your personality into a wedding as a bride shows if you don't do things too fast. I was actually kind of grateful for COVID as a bride, because I thought, okay, it's giving me more time, and it gave me more time in my course as a celebrant. It gave me more time. So everything I've ever done has always been slow. And I don't like, that's not for everyone, but I just think it makes you more authentic. You build your network, you build your relationships, you come across as someone who's putting in work and you're passionate about it, rather than like, here I am, you know, be quick about it and I've got to get it done. And obviously everyone's in unique situations. Some people have to, my mum was married within 3 months of being engaged, and you kind of get thrown in the deep end. So everyone's situation is different, but I definitely think if you can take time, be engaged for 2 years, be engaged for 3, hell, do 5. Enjoy your time. And they're expensive. Even if you do a micro wedding, they're definitely expensive. It's not talked about enough. So no, you don't have to spend your life savings, and you can take your time. Yeah, it's not going anywhere. Wedding industry.
And are there things that you think brides are going to, or anything really cool that you've seen in terms of like ceremony that might be coming up for 2025, or ways brides like personalizing weddings, like anything just really interesting?
Yeah, I think that real, raw, unedited, kind of nostalgic, that is huge. And micro weddings. I said that before, but I really think that's massive. I think long gone are the days of having an extravaganza. And I think culturally, you know, you don't have a choice, because there's some people who come from huge families, including me. So you may not be able to do that. But imagine just being surrounded by the people that you would have over for dinner. You know, I think that is exceptional, like to have people that absolutely adore and love you. But I think, yeah, I think that's probably the biggest thing for sure.
I interviewed Nadia Fairfax, and she actually said she walked into the ceremony with a marching band and she was playing the tambourine.
No.
And I just thought that was awesome. And that was a couple of years ago. But,
Yeah.
you know, just
I love it.
you know, have you got anything else about any advice for couples to make it really personal or unforgettable, or if they're feeling really overwhelmed in the planning process, especially when it comes to staying focused on what matters most throughout their ceremony?
That's the best question, and I have a simple answer. Stay off social media. That to me is like, and look, my business is built on social media and I love it so much, but it is so overwhelming and you can get really trapped into copy pasting another person's wedding. My biggest advice, and I did the same, it's like have tunnel vision and focus on what makes you you. What are the things that you love? Like I think about me and I think, okay, I love theatre. I love Phantom of the Opera. I love Beauty and the Beast. Like
Wicked.
I love Wicked.
As mentioned earlier.
As mentioned and sung. No, I'm just kidding. But for me, it's like, how can I inject my personality? And like Harry Potter, like
so you'd be
things.
like green walking down there. No, I'm joking.
Yes, 100% painted. No, everyone's painting me as I walk down the aisle.
Yes.
But for me, those little things made it unique, authentic, and it made everyone feel something because they were like, this is Sarah. Is it Matt, my husband? Maybe not, but it was definitely me. But I think that is, huge. I really am such an advocate for injecting your own personality and just have tunnel vision. Stay off. I had a bride recently, a couple that I sat down with, and she was telling me that she had booked everything, had a vision, done everything, and then she keeps seeing all these extra things and she's like, do I need this? Do I need this? Do I need this? And I was like, absolutely, you do not. You do not need it. I promise you. Go through the list, think about what's important to you. What is for most people, it's photos. That is huge. Or their video. They want to see themselves in moving image. They want to be able to reminisce. They want something to show their future families if they're planning on having a family. So invest in the things that make sense to you and are unique to you.
So what I've gathered is you're not only a celebrant, but also a personal planner / therapist.
Therapist, 100%.
For your couples as well. So you offer a full service.
I offer a full service. And I actually received a review last night, which my beautiful couple, and they said, I remember our meeting and all we did was cry and laugh. And I just have tissues there because it's so exposing and so vulnerable. I mean, it's such a personal journey and it's pressure. It's pressure. So I get it and I'm here for you.
Oh, well, I've absolutely loved our chat today. I will get you to officiate my vow renewal, which will be like in a year, so it means like 3 years. But finally, like what's one thing you hope every couple walks away feeling after you officiate their wedding?
Just joy. Just feel at ease. I want to ease the burden of all my couples. I take on a lot on my shoulders, but that's because I can. I can because I'm already so fulfilled and I am not planning that wedding. I'm not going in there thinking, okay, this is my family. These are my friends. I'm completely unburdened. My focus is you and I want you to feel at ease. I don't want you to worry. I want you to think Sarah's got this. And then after be like, that was the best. I want it to be like a roller coaster ride. I want you scared before you go, enjoying the whole time that you're on it. And then after going, I want to go again. That's what I want. That's what I want. It's crazy. I just
Wow. If that is what you want, you can find Sarah at Sarah Davoli, Celebrant.
Sarah Davoli, Celebrant.
And
correct.
you're also doing social content as well. Because why wouldn't you just keep your Celebrant there to get social content, which is what a lot of celebrants are doing. So it makes total sense.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I'm not going to wear a GoPro at the wedding, but I do have a shooter that will help me so we can capture everything. It's the little moments that matter.
Beautiful.
100%.
Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you.